How you doing? I'm going to attempt to make this vlog, whatever, fathers to mothers. At some point, fathers and mothers, we're going to have to come to an understanding. This is not a competition. This is not a battle. This is not, you can't parent out of spite. You see, one thing I notice is that men and women are not having kids and not getting along. And it's for some kind of reason. Whether it's different ideologies of parenting or or finance or whatever you want to call it. But because we would say mothers get the majority of attention and benefits and um, legal sympathy. And I don't mean benefits just by money. I mean, take something small in consideration. Like I take my son to a daycare, and they are surprised that I'm picking him up and dropping him off. That's a privilege that women are just, it's a privilege for women, and at the same token, it's an insult to men. Um, the thing about it is I see too many women saying, you know, they don't need a man, they don't want a man, uh, kind of marginalizing, sideswiping guys and our importance in the roles of our children's lives. And at the same token, when you're becoming an obstacle and the kid doesn't work out, doesn't come up the way you thought the kid would under your watch, then all of a sudden it's the father's fault. Well, here's the thing. It could be the father's fault if the father's not doing anything or trying to do anything. It's going to be, but at some point, if you are being obstructing a kid to have balance, then it's going to cause a problem with the child. It's not going to cause a problem with the father. It's not going to cause a problem with the mother who's ever getting in the way of playing games with others. It's really not. It's going to cause a problem with the kid because it's a tug of war between two people who should have two different roles and responsibilities, but they fighting to be a father fighting to be a better mother and a mother fighting to be the better father, which is completely asinine. So at some point, hurt feelings need to be for the adults to hash out, and parenting needs to be for the adults to do. See, you can't just say, I don't like you, I hate your guts, and I'm not really going to take it out on this kid because I love the kid. That's a lie. I've been a kid before. That's a complete, utter lie. Because that's where the extra angst come from. Your such and such ain't here to handle this. You know, if they was just more around, you'd be more of this or more of that. And of course, time matters, but you got to make an environment that is not toxic for kids to know that both parents love them, but by respecting each other. And if you can't respect each other, then at least be far enough apart to not be toxic and be cordial to each other. And if you can't be cordial to each other, then I don't know what to tell you because that's a bare minimum. But at the end of the day, it's gonna cause angst. Like you can't have somebody, you can't be at odds with the opposite sex and expect your child to have good relationships with the opposite sex. And it's not just a father's fault or a mother's fault or a single father's fault or a single mother's fault. It's both. And if both can't come to the table and admit where both are wrong and not admit what the other person wants to hear, Because even when you want to hear an apology about something, you might be wrong on what you're asking them to apologize about. Because they might actually be right. But admit what has been done that's wrong and rectify that instead of all of this tit for tat, spiteful behavior. Because what's happening is we as a society are creating tit for tat, spiteful, confused children. So I mean, for the fathers and mothers, if you want a well productive, well adjusted kid ready for life, we're gonna have to work out how to be fathers and mothers and accept what our differences of parenting are when they're in the positive influence of the child. Now, if something's negative influence, I understand having a battle for it. What I'm talking about is people are not, who are getting in the way of positive things. I want to teach the kid how to read. Well, you can't do it better than me. Shut up. That's stupid. I'm gonna teach the kid how to play baseball. I don't like that. That's silly. I want to teach the kid discipline. I don't like the way you discipline. I think mine. Look, you can't have a monopoly. Nobody has a monopoly on right. But always trying to get in the way of somebody's way. If it works, it works. Nobody has a monopoly on the love of a child. No mother is no higher than no father. So we just got to come back to reality, if you don't mind. Because frankly, the world we're creating as parents by being at each other's throats over kids is a world that we are complaining about, talking about these kids are, are messing up, or these kids are to this or to that. It's because of the mothers, it's because of the fathers. And instead of saying it's because of both of us, it's the mothers and the fathers' fault. We're spoiling them too much. We're being too lenient on them. We're blaming everybody except for ourselves. We're not. We're letting everybody else raise our children but us. We're making wants necessities and teaching them that wants are needed more than needs. We're doing a lot of stuff as a society that is really counterproductive to our children growing up stable. So I just wanted to put that out there. And I think it's time to change. I can only change with my relationship with my son's mother and how I raise my son. But I think I feel it needs to be said.